Hey guys, thank you for joining me for another episode of Wednesday Rewind. It's where we talk about what we just talked about. And this past Sunday, we finished up our series, You Are. What we said is, you are the light of the world. We walked through Ephesians 5, verses 1 through 16, and what we said is, we took 3 points, and what we said is this. We repeated what Paul said. Paul says the first thing was this: you were darkness. It's uncomfortable. It might sting a little, but Paul says you didn't just walk in darkness, no, you were darkness. And because of who you were, that's how you walked. You walked after your own deep, dark desires. You were darkness. That's true not only for them, but for you and I. We know that's true. If we look back at our stories, we could say, my story is dark, and I didn't have any light in it. But here's the good news. That was your reality. Your reality now, if you are in Christ, Paul would tell you this: you are light. You were dark, you are light. In the Bible, light often represents God's divine presence on the earth. It talks at length about how God settled on Mount Sinai and there was lots of light. Likewise, when Jesus came, Paul said that Jesus was God who dwells in inapproachable light. John said that Jesus was in fact the light that comes into the world to light everybody up. And then, check this out. In Matthew 5, Jesus actually stuns the disciples by saying, you are the light of the world. It's incredible. But in Christ, we become Jesus' light in the world. But there's something that goes along with that identification, and this is our third point. The third point was this: walk in the light. Now it's time for you to live out your new identity. I got it. You were darkness, and you lived out of that identity, but in Christ now you are light. And Paul tells the Ephesians and us, if we will listen, he tells us that we are to walk as children of light. And he mentions 3 things in this little verse. He mentions good, he mentions right, and he mentions truth. So as you walk out this life in Christ, a life full of light, is it good? Does it glorify God for the benefit of others? Is it right? Does it match up with God's glorious standards? And is it true? Does it match up with what the reality is? You were dark, you are light, now walk in it. That's all I want to say to you today. God bless you. So good for you to join me and me to join you. Beloved, I love you. I will see you next week. Adios.